This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Plenty going on around Australia at the moment. Want to touch on a couple of things. One, the Collingwood Netball Club are done and dusted. Well, they're going to be. So the teams at the moment, 8 teams in the competition, Super Netball. So Collingwood have said, no, our team's been rubbish.
But they're backed by the Collingwood Football Club, who have all the money in the world. So why aren't they just taking a hit on it?
They haven't been able to get it right. Now, I think Craig Kelly, as the new boss over there, has decided, we're not going to carry them anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, it's problematic just because it's now going to screw up the competition, essentially.
Yeah, so...
Well, to be honest, they said that they've had... Netball Australia said they've had, before this happened, that they had a lot of people put up their hand and say, hey, we want a netball licence to jump into the competition. And now that it was...
But do any of them have any money?
Well, it's a good question. They should be able to front up a team, and particularly you think about Victoria. If they've got the Vixens in there, they should be able to come up. I mean, there's 8 million people there. Like, they're 3 or 4 times the size of WA. So they should be able to have another team come, and whether that's going to be in the southeast or that kind of area, or it's just, I don't know, if they start going north or whatever the case is, they should be able to have a
one of the directions.
team coming on.
So,
the only problem...
Do they have good players in that team?
Well, that just means that the girls who have played for Collingwood in particular, they are free agents. They will be free agents come the end of this season. But if they're able to grant a second licence in Victoria, which is the state it needs to go into for sure, then hopefully they have enough time if they do it in the next couple of months.
They're bottom of the ladder. Like they're not. They're having a dud season, but they've had historically solid players. Like you're
thinking of Ash Brazil, probably.
Yeah, Sophie Garbin's an Australian player. They're playing her out of position because they've got a Jamaican goal shooter now, and so they've pushed Sophie Garbin, who is a Kalgoorlie girl.
Don't push Kalgoorlie people
into goal attack,
please.
which is so she's playing out of position. And now that could cost her a spot in the Australian squad. So you know, there's some struggles, but you can't just drop out because you're finishing last. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a little bit taking my bat and ball and going home.
Yeah,
like someone has to finish last.
Case. No one's really going off their head about it at the moment.
I would think
they kind of suspect that it was going to happen for a little while.
Well,
I don't know.
The story I read said that the whole, they were all called into a meeting with Craig Kelly. They were blindsided. So the players didn't know, the coaches didn't know, the admin staff around them had no idea that they'd come to that. So when the people involved didn't know, you've got to suggest that maybe they didn't know.
Okay, fair call.
There might be some cheap bibs up for grabs on gummy.
If you like black and white.
Mate, you need them, Nath. You go down the Fremantle netball courts, there's always need for a new bib or two. Brisbane Tigers... The Brisbane Tigers are a rugby league team in Queensland.
Brisbane. Not an NRL team. Mate.
No, well, they're a rugby league team. Yes, they're a waffle team, if you like. Okay. They've put their hand up for the 18th licence in the NRL competition. Now we don't have a team here in WA, and as we know, back in the day, we had the Western...
in Brisbane.
Yes, they have the Brisbane Dolphins. They have the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
And this team said, well, we went for that same licence that the Dolphins did, and the Dolphins beat us, but we believe now we've upgraded our stadium that we should be the next team into the competition. We've got history in locally, and we'll be able to drag a team and be as successful as the Dolphins have been. But that doesn't make a national competition. No. It is the National Rugby League. Western Reds back in the day, we remember them.
Yep.
They had some successful times.
Yes.
If you're going to have a national competition, you really need to get a team over here.
And they've been knocking on the door for some time. It's not like we haven't put our hand up.
It's been a long time.
Here in WA, they've been putting their hand up for years.
I mean, but it's not the first time that, there's been something nationally held and WA hasn't been a part of it, to be honest.
We do have Coldplay, though, so in your face...
We have Coldplay, Chris Martin loves us.
And you would have seen on the news that the UFC have done a deal with New South Wales government to have 3 events there in the next 4 years. And I was just filthy about this one because it seemed like WA had their hands on this UFC and it was so big for West Australian sport over here.
Yeah, and tourism.
Yeah, and tourism was absolutely massive. Such a massive worldwide audience coming, whether you like it or not. It's just the fact that it's focused on our city for that time. So... New South Wales government has swooped in and they're going to have a crack at it over the next 4 years.
So they've taken it from us?
Well, they're not saying that we won't get one.
But,
but we wanted it.
We did want it. They've done a deal. They're going to get 3 events there over the next 4 years.
I feel like we do these little things over here that's a bit of fun and then they say, they're having fun, let's take it.
It's an interesting thing, though, because traditionally it's been Melbourne and Victoria and New South Wales fighting each other. And Adelaide had a few things back in the day. Then Melbourne stole all their stuff. And now Adelaide have got a few things back. We're just fighting each other.
We need to keep the things we get. We need to keep it secret. Like Coldplay, we need to shut our mouths.
They just turn up.
Shut our mouths and just let it happen.
But the point of getting it is to lure people over, so we have to tell them.
But then next time, watch, they'll send a spy over to speak to Chris Martin, and then like mid-gig, he'll leave and go to Melbourne to finish the performance.
Time to catch up with the big horse, Sean Darcy from the Fremantle Dockers, and he dominated on the weekend, 45.
Darth.
If you're watching the coverage too, geez, the commentators were loving you, Darth.
Were they?
Australia loves you.
Oh, thanks.
Well, he's a Hemsworth. He's a fourth Hemsworth.
Yeah, fourth
Hemsworth. I cannot bang on enough about it.
It was interesting because you played like a man who didn't want to leave and go to Geelong. It was amazing.
Yeah. Apparently I am, wasn't it? Picture of me in Geelong.
So it's so
It's
funny,
amazing,
right?
isn't it?
So last week, that story broke that, you wanted to leave. And then we addressed it on our show because, we're reading up what was in the paper. And
that was the first you'd seen the story was when you came in here, yeah.
And you were amazed with what you were reading. So you address it and say no, and then the paper does another story and says, see, we said he'd say no.
And predicted he denied it.
Yeah, I can't win. If I say no, they say I'm going to say no. If I say yes, then everyone...
Categorically.
That was a really good point you made there, Nath. And we were just talking to you. Now, tell everyone, Sean, there was then a follow-up article saying that you guys are out at Benny's in Fremantle. Hugo's. Okay, a couple of weeks ago.
And you were cutting up the dance floor. Apparently you were BOG on the dance floor because your moves were amazing.
They said we're out till 2:30 a.m. at Hugo's, and I can tell you right now, I've got a Uber home at 9:45, and I didn't even go to Hugo's. Didn't step foot in there.
So you never set foot in Hugo's.
So
when people say, show me the receipts, you've got the receipts.
Literal receipt. So there was a function for...
Yeah, there was a players and partners function. So
and where was that?
That was at the Federal.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
So we had dinner and a few drinks because it was an 8-day break, and I wasn't in the greatest mood because we lost by Western Bulldogs the night before, and then they even wrote that Michael Frederick was going really well, and he was on waters and left in about an hour
with an injured groin.
With an injured groin. So you sort of just laugh at it right now.
So they're literally just making it up.
Oh, they are. But
with these stories, so say that story's out, right? Do the coaching staff ask you about these stories, or what's the deal?
The leaders came to the boys who were in it, and I think it was me, Moose, Fifey, and Rick, and they come and talk to us about it. I was pretty cruisy. I was like, I've done nothing wrong. I know for a fact.
Prove it. Here's my Uber receipt.
And then they went and talked to Bally, and Bally was just like, man, I couldn't care less. Legitimately. So it's an 8-day break. We don't go off wins and losses. If you guys want to have a beer and you're doing nothing wrong, you're doing nothing wrong.
It's interesting, though, but you get to a point where you feel like you need to defend yourself.
Well, when they're constantly writing false stories about you.
But what's amazing, though, someone makes up something and then they make it up and they're so convincing about it, then you have to face the coaching stuff about it, which didn't actually happen.
And the other thing is they're publishing it in the paper. The wider population aren't going to come to you and go, is that true?
It's like on the back page of the West.
So they just believe it must be true.
Yeah, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Let's tell everyone a really nice true story. Natalie was just talking to you about how beautiful the sunset was.
Last night.
It was a ripping sunset last night.
And what would happen with you and your friend Griff when there was a nice sunset?
Yeah, we really like our sunsets, me and Big Griff. So he used to live in an apartment at Leighton Beach, and I used to live in an apartment in South Freo. And every time it was a half-decent sunset, we'd call each other and go down the beach.
Now, why don't you print that?
Sunset watch. So you would make sure that neither of you missed it.
Yeah, we didn't want to miss the sunset.
That's right.
So what would you do? Would you have a splash around in the water or just sit there and watch it?
I'd go for a swim.
Yeah.
So,
And then just sit there and watch it.
Yeah.
It's always a good sunset. I reckon it's some of the best in the world down on the ocean.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's gorgeous.
Does anyone else? Do you reckon there's a lot of other people that have sunset friends?
So you wouldn't,
nice.
you wouldn't get together to watch the sunset.
No, we wouldn't get together. We'd be like, bro, this is going to be a good sunset.
So would you FaceTime one another while you were watching your respective...
No. We'd be like, get down to the beach. It's going to be a good sunset.
Yeah, and then you just appreciate it on your own.
Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous.
I don't know. That sounds more creepy than being with someone.
I like a sunset. What can I say?
That is really nice. And will that make the paper? We'll have to jazz it up, though.
No, it won't, because it's true.
Hey, Griff. Sorry, Griff.
Sean.
Sean.
Hey, Sean. The club changing their name to Walyalup.
Yep.
We had a Walyalup. we had a smoking ceremony on Monday to kick things off. We're gearing up for Indigenous round, Sir Doug Nichols round as well.
Yeah, so we change up to Walyalup for the next 2 weeks. And Alex Pearce and Carly Gray designed the jumper that looks really cool that we're going to wear this week.
It does look good.
Yeah, it does.
It looks lovely. They do a lot of work, so to see the finished product is really cool. It's a bit about Tassie and his journey over from Tasmania to Western Australia, which, it looks really cool. And I think Rog designed the logo of the Walyalup for the next 2 weeks. So they've done a really good job, and, it's really, really exciting. It's really a special couple of weeks that we can really share their stories and talk to us, and we can understand a bit more about everyone, which is great.
Yeah, it's been powerful for the AFL getting involved. The NRL are doing it this weekend too. Anyway, I'll throw it out to all sports because I want to do that. But they're doing a really fantastic job in this area. It's a huge game for you guys. Do you reckon you've got real momentum at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're playing some good footy the last couple of weeks. We're moving the ball at a lot quicker and a lot better rate, and the boys are playing with a lot of instinct and a lot of flair, and they're backing themselves in. They're not thinking too much. They're not second-guessing themselves, which is how we were playing a lot of last year. So, it's a big game. Geelong, it doesn't get much bigger than the reigning premiers over here. So, we're really excited and can't wait to get out there.
How far away are we from seeing Fifey play longer?
I think he's got the choice.
Yeah, right.
I think, the coaching staff will go to him and see if his body's ready.
Are you up for it?
Yeah, so I think the big fella gets to choose whether
Wouldn't that be great? If
Yeah.
our boss had said to us, how much do you think you got for today's show? I probably got a solid 15.
Oh, when's that starting?
I reckon that would be the best. Can you imagine Fifey's hourly rate too?
Yeah, I know.
No,
still
I
getting
wouldn't
paid.
want it. You wouldn't want
be
it.
nice, isn't it?
You're ridiculous.
So the first game you played 40 minutes,
Yeah.
possibly 45, and last week you played 30 minutes.
Oh, I like that trajectory.
A solid 15 this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too far away.
Oh, well, no, it's going to be great, mate. Look forward to Saturday afternoon footy and you continuing on your good form. And finally, the midfield is starting to get the ball that you keep hitting to them. So that's nice as well.
Yeah, we've been doing a fair bit of work, so it's good to get some reward out there.
Well, good reward because you're doing all the hard work and they're finally doing something. Is that what you mean?
No,
That's what he said. That's what he told us.
Before and after training, we're putting in some solid hours and
On the dance floor, am I right?
Yeah! Hippie Club tonight, everyone.
Mate, and then he only leaves to go and watch the sunrise and the sunset.
Anyway, no, but we're doing a lot of meeting, a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of training. It's good to get some reward out there on the weekend. So hopefully we continue the good form as a midfield group.
Yeah, and from now on, if you could just, Snapchat as you go to bed so that we know what time you're going to bed.
I'll put the time up there
okay, that'd be terrific.
That'd be handy. Thanks, mate.
Good on you. Thanks, Darcy.
Nice.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.